Got my pseudo tripod ready. They're about 14 minutes away. I don't care if you can read that. Close. Let's see if the website's okay yet.
At exactly 18 minutes and 45 seconds into the pilot, the French captain says,
Commander, signal the following in all languages and on all frequencies.
We surrender.
Make of it what you will. Anyway, they get surrounded by the sphere of fear, and the four leads are brought to a less than nice overboard, complete with these guys. We represent the post-apocalyptic lollipop guild, and we wish to welcome you to Vault 101. And just as a brief aside, why is it that after Armageddon there's always a sudden surge in the midget population? Well, maybe duck and cover works better than we all thought. So Q comes in on his throne, dressed like a really gay playing card. Tashiar suddenly decides, with no real prompting, to just kick the shit out of one of the guards. So Q has the guard executed on the spot. He assures Picard, however, that the prisoners will not be harmed and that this will be a fair trial. The charges are then presented in a scene I absolutely cannot watch without laughing, as Nativity Scene Wiseman here presents the charges in broken English, all the while emphasized by a midget with a cowbell. I had fever dreams that weren't this screwed up. Tasha decides that now would be a good time for some more overacting, so Q decides to freeze her too. And frankly, it's welcome. Oh my God. Well, at least it doesn't undermine the tragedy of this scene. So Picard points out Q broke his promise about not harming the prisoners, so Q unfreezes Tasha, pissing off the crowd that not even the court midget is capable of restoring order. But Q silences them and the trial continues. Picard is given the charges on the court etch-a-sketch and rejects them as not being charges against them. Q decides to hell with his promises and send soldiers in, putting guns to their heads and telling them that they'll be shot unless they plead guilty. Every time I bring this up, there is always one person who says, well, for all we know, that's the way trials were conducted, so maybe this really is a fair trial. This person shall be referred to in all future instances as dipshit. There is no definition of fair trial that can include putting a gun to someone's head. And even if that were the way the trial was normally conducted, which Q would probably have pointed out since he gloated that he was prosecutor, judge, and jury, a trial cannot be called fair just because it follows procedure. Anyways, Picard pleads guilty provisionally, points out that Q is violating his own rules, and then finally demands that he and his crew be tested as proof that humanity is no longer established. Q likes the idea, so he lets them go, with Chief O'Brien, that curly-haired guy, waiting for them like nothing happened. Meanwhile, at Farpoint Station, we discover the beardless Riker, first officer, and speaking to Grappler Zorn about the space station, which is on the ground, thus kind of missing the major characteristic of being called the space station. But truth be told, I missed that originally, too. You see, as I sat 20-plus years ago, trying to watch this with soda cans and aluminum foil on the UHF antenna, just trying to pick up some station one of the shows us, all I could think of was that there was something about Zorn that just made me want to start hitting him. Back then, before Al Gore was good enough to invent us the internet, I couldn't put my finger on it for quite a while. But then one day, it hit me. Riker was talking to one of the frickin' Wonder Twins. No wonder I wanted to smack the shit out of him. So after that crap with the apple you saw, Riker is excitedly talking to Dr. Crusher about investigating this. There's also a mysterious bit of purple and gold fabric. Dun, dun, dun. This is emphasized by a nearby local wearing a headdress that, I hate to admit, is so awful I bet even Neelix wouldn't wear it. This is just me, but if you're selling cloth like this androgynous local is, it's probably a good idea to not put old dish rags on your head and frown at everyone. So Riker gets beamed up when Enterprise arrives, and Picard coldly tells him to go watch everything that happened with Q. Man, there's a hell of a lot of padding in this episode. So Riker is called into the reading room finally, where Picard is playing with a highlighter and some sheets of plastic. After word comes down that the saucer section is made up, Picard says that Riker will reattach it manually. It's kind of like when the space shuttle comes in. Every once in a while, NASA just tells them, Commander, this is Houston. Just for shits and giggles, we've turned off your landing computer. I want you to just take the shuttle in by yourself. If you're all curious, I got $20 that says you'll miss White Sands and turn into a crater in Oklahoma. Houston out, fuckers. Lots of apprehension on the bridge, but they start going in. It's a long with Riker declaring, all velocity 0, inertia should do the job now.
Okay.
Your inertia, if your velocity is 0, would be
5:29. We're close enough. I'm going to start the official countdown. Watch this later. Oh, I think something's starting. End of this, start the next one.